Hi guys, in this episode of Zone, I'm gonna be sharing my thoughts on the 12th episode of the 7 seasons of one of my favorite shows ever, Fear the Walking Dead. And yeah, this was honestly another good one. To be honest, for me, out of the 4 episodes of the second half that we've gotten, I would say 3 was genuinely solidly good. For me, episode 9, episode 11, and episode 12 have been pretty enjoyable. I definitely think the second half, to me personally, is less exciting than the first one. I'll give people that, like people who criticize the show, that it's less exciting. But I still think the quality is pretty up there. The only reason why I think like episode 10 was kind of weak is because Charlie as a character cannot carry an episode on her own. So while I don't mind the content of that episode, I feel like we should have gotten more characters and more character interactions in that one to make it more enjoyable. But yeah, this was a pretty good episode, though for me, like I said, less exciting than episode 11. I honestly personally still stand by the fact that episode 9 of this second half has been the best. I really liked Poe, and I really liked his death, and it just felt like the best episode for me. I really like it. Right now, I would rate that episode a 9.4 out of 10 for me personally. While I would rate episode 10... I don't know, maybe an 8.4 out of 10. I would rate episode 11 a 9.1 out of 10, and I would rate this episode a 9.2 out of 10. The reason why, despite the fact that this episode is a little less exciting, is because I think the writing was at least a little better than the previous one. Because for the previous one, some of the dialogue, not really that much, but there was some of the dialogue that didn't really feel like what I think the characters would be saying. Like the speech that Luciana made towards the end to Teddy's people, it didn't feel like something Luciana would say, so that kind of bothered me. Even though I think the new showrunners, which we got in season 4, have done actually a pretty good job in season 6 and 7 of actually making the old characters act like themselves. So that was an issue in terms of the writing for last episodes, but in this one we didn't really have that. There were a couple of moments which kind of bothered me in relation to the writing, just because it's a little bit kind of convoluted for no reason whatsoever. But it was overall a pretty enjoyable episode. The thing that I didn't expect about this episode is that we were going to lose both Howard and John Dory Sr., which was kind of crazy. I actually did not even see him dying anytime soon. But I guess it kind of makes sense, and I'm actually okay with his death because it's better to kill a character before they get old. So I'm fine with them killing him off, especially because his story was essentially told, I guess, with the Teddy stuff from last season and with him finding the body in this season. His story has been told, and I'm fine with him dying, you know. It's just that I feel like it wasn't necessarily built up in a satisfying way. Because even though it hurt me that he died, and I feel bad that he died, it kind of comes out of nowhere. Both the fact that he got radiation poisoning after saving Charlie, which, by the way, holy shit, that shit is really taking a toll on her very quickly. It's just that it really kind of comes out of nowhere. Both that and the fact that at the end he sacrifices himself to get the baby to Morgan. But yeah, with how many characters died this episode or are gonna be dying in the near future, I don't know. I honestly don't really know what to expect in terms of how many people are gonna be losing this season. It really feels like they're kind of cleaning up the field for a new showrunner or whatever. I doubt that they're gonna change showrunners for season 8. I'm pretty sure the current showrunners are still gonna stay. But it really kind of comes off like that, you know, with all these characters dying or going to be dying. I mean, Howard, obviously he was gonna die sooner rather than later. So his death was predictable. I mean, I knew it was gonna happen sooner or later, not necessarily that it was predictable, but with the teaser, it was. I just wasn't sure whether he was gonna be dying in this episode or not. But John Dory's death, and now seeing how bad Charlie has gotten, man, they're really chopping up everybody. And I don't know whether I like that fact or it bothers me. Because on one side, it's cool that they're actually starting to kill characters, because it actually makes it feel like there's some stakes to the story again, because both The Walking Dead and Fear the Walking Dead have been kind of reluctant to kill big characters, especially The Walking Dead. Or to kill a lot of characters, but now with the death of these characters, or the potential death of other characters, it does give it more stakes. But on the other side of things, it bothers me that none of these characters died to the fucking nukes when they first fell. Not for the consequences of those nukes, but when the bombs first fell. Because now the only impact or the weight of the bombs themselves falling that we get is from Dakota's death. That is the only character who actually died of the nukes themselves when they fell. So yeah, I don't know. It's not necessarily a bad thing that they're just now killing them from the consequences, but I still would have liked some to die actually from the nuke, or at least for more of them to die from the nukes. I think that would have been pretty fine. But still, it is pretty brutal to have like a teenager die from that. That is kind of crazy. Still, I honestly, like, I don't care what you think about the quality of Fear the Walking Dead in Season 7. You gotta give them this. They're pretty ballsy with the shit that they're giving us. They're going for dark direction. And I feel like people do not acknowledge that shit enough. Like the Walker baby in episode 2, the dog, now Charlie. Like, that's shit that The Walking Dead has not even thought of doing. So you gotta give credit where credit is due. But yeah, let's see what we should talk about in regards to this episode, because I don't want to just rehash it or just like repeat everything and talk about the specific scenes. But this was very much an episode focused on John Dory Sr. I obviously expected it was going to be focusing on him based on the trailer. But I definitely did not expect that it was going to be his death episode. I like that it was very kind of similar to John Dory Jr.'s episode last season, or at least the first of his episodes, where he was also trying to figure out the mystery, just like Jordan Dory Sr. in this episode. It's just that in this case it was a lost baby, and in the other one it was one of Virginia's guys dying. And I gotta say, out of those two episodes, the John Dory Jr. episode was definitely the better one. But yeah, I like the interrogation scenes in the episodes when he was trying to find out who took the baby away. But the thing is, the way they portrayed it, it kind of made the twist that there's an actual resistance in Strand's place, and that it was June who took the baby, kind of confusing, because in the beginning, like, he was having he was interrogating her about it, and she, I don't know, she didn't really, because in the beginning he was interrogating her, and there was no sign whatsoever that it was her, because he even asked her that if she took it to tell him. And then there was the other twist where it turned out that John Dory Sr. was the one who put the walkie-talkie that framed Howard, which was another twist that didn't even make even more sense, because he was acting as if he was just taking this as an opportunity to cozy up to Strand. But no, that was planned by him. It just feels like it kind of came out of nowhere, and it wasn't the characters who did it even. I don't know, it just feels weird. It doesn't feel natural, like a natural twist. That kind of bothers me about this episode. Another issue that I have with this episode a little bit is the pacing of it, because it is kind of all over the place because the first 20 minutes of the episode are normally paced for what the episodes have been the last 2 seasons. But then, like, kind of halfway through the episode, we kind of solve the mystery where we find the baby. And then the episode kind of goes in a different direction, or I guess in a direction that it was going to go, but then it got changed because they were June was trying to take the baby to Morgan through the tunnels underneath the place or whatever, but then John Dory Sr. didn't want to let her do that. But then when he realized that Strand doesn't want to listen to him and he cannot be the angel on his shoulder, he attacked him, knocked him out, and decided to take the baby himself, doing it, escaping the compound, or the tower, should I say, the same way that Mickey did. So I love that they brought that back. And him getting bitten in the process. It's just that it kind of switched in a completely different direction from what the first half of the episode was, which kind of makes it feel a little jarring, but yeah, I don't know. It definitely isn't as good of an episode as it should have been, but I think it was fine. I still think it was a pretty enjoyable one, and at least it didn't have some of the weirdness of last episode, because last episode, there were some moments where at least the execution of the plot was kind of weird, because they were talking about how the soldiers of Arno were going 20 miles in the wrong direction, but that still would have left like half the people at the place where they were staying, and it still felt like there was nobody, and the whole location of the base of Arno's itself didn't really feel like there was anybody there. Like, it didn't even feel like it was that big in the first place for people to be there. So there was no weirdness like that in this episode, but it was still a little wonky. At least the dialogue in this one was better, because there was some really funny dialogue moments in this episode. But yeah, I'm just kind of still processing the fact that he died, because I did not expect that to happen. But at least they're thinning out the herd, and we can actually have more focus on our actual main characters for next season, especially with Madison coming back. So I kind of want to make a prediction right now about which characters are safe. And I'm even going to write it down right now. Safe characters that are going to be alive after the end of the season. Safe characters and dying characters. So we already have the characters who are dead, so we're not going to count them, but for dying characters, I guess we're not even going to count Charlie, because she's very much bedridden, but I guess we should, because it's not clear whether they're going to kill her ultimately or whether she's going to recover or whatever, but I think she's probably dead. So, you know what? We're not going to count her. So, outside of her, who do I see dying? Out of the main cast, probably Wes. I can definitely see Wes dying. I can see Strand dying. I'll make these predictions. Although with Madison coming back, he probably isn't going to die. And I can see Alicia dying. I don't think they will kill these characters, but I can definitely see them die. I could potentially even see Sherry dying. So we're going to write her as well. The characters which I definitely don't think are going to die are Morgan, Dwight, for sure, is not going to be dying. I guess actually no, I'm going to change Strand to Daniel, because he is going to lose his mind after the end of this season, so he is probably dead. You know what, fuck it, I'm not going to be... So yeah, ultimately I wish his death was a little bit more emotional, because him singing Sonny Boy, or at least us hearing the singing of the lullaby Sonny Boy or whatever, definitely was working emotionally, but I still feel like we didn't really get much of an emotion from any of the characters, nor from John Dory Sr. himself. So, I don't know, I feel like they definitely could have made it a little bit more emotional, but yeah, I don't know. I just don't know. In terms of a rating though for this episode, I've actually changed my mind. I feel like I kind of liked maybe last episode a little more, so I'm actually going to go with an 8.6 out of 10 for this one. I feel like episode 11 and 9 were better. So I guess we might actually be following a similar trend to what we had with the episodes in the second third of the episodes of the final season of The Walking Dead. It's just that it's the reverse, because in the case of the main show, it was episodes 10, 12, 14, and I guess kind of 16 that were pretty exciting and fun, while the rest were less entertaining, while in the case of Fear the Walking Dead, it's episodes 9 and 11 that were good, while 10 and 12 were less so. But yeah, let's get through the things that I've written down, which is actually less than usual, but I was also distracted because I was eating at the time, so yeah. Okay, so the first thing I wrote is, holy shit, that was horrifyingly brutal. And that is in relation to the fact that in the beginning of the episode, we see Strand and Howard push so many people off of the roof for random bad things that they have done, but most of them is just everybody hiding like walkie-talkies and shit. And the way that they're showing it with like everybody screams and shit, it's really fucking brutal. Like the Fear the Walking Dead has definitely nailed the brutality of stuff in season 6 and 7. I'll give them that for sure, and I wish people actually also gave them that. So that was really good. Next thing I've written is, Jesus, Charlie is fucked. And yes, she is. She looked so much worse than she did last episode. Because last episode, it was just like red on her skin. But in this episode, she was literally like fucked. She was like almost like looking like a zombie at this point. So she's fucked. And I wonder if they decided to kill her so they didn't have to have a confrontation between her and Madison. That definitely could be the case. But it would be a shame if they did not meet at all and she dies before they meet. Or maybe they're doing this so Madison wouldn't have to kill her for killing Nick. Because remember, she did that. Next thing written is, so there is a resistance, huh? Which I guess is to the revelation that June is part of the resistance against Strand. It's kind of funny how both The Walking Dead and Fear the Walking Dead are dealing with like corrupt leaders and resistances against them that are secret. It's kind of interesting. It's not the first similarity that Fear the Walking Dead has had with the current season of The Walking Dead, that's for sure. Next thing written is, when did he get radiation poisoning? And I still don't get it. Based on the way that it's being portrayed in the show, at least, it doesn't make sense for when he would get radiation poisoning. Because the way it's being portrayed on the show is that you don't really get radiation poisoning from clothes and shit. So it wouldn't make sense for him to get the radiation poisoning from carrying Charlie and her radiated clothes, based on the rules in the show, that is, from what it's being shown to us. But how would he otherwise get radiation poisoning and radiation burns on his stomach? Only by carrying her. That's kind of how I explain it. But based on the rules in the show, like I said, it doesn't make necessarily any sense. But again, like I said, it also feels like it kind of comes out of nowhere that he gets that radiation poisoning, so that's a little annoying. Next thing I've written is, the one bullet has to play into something, because when he and June are down in the sewers, let's just call them that, with the walkers, he says that he has like 3 or 4 bullets in his gun, and then when he shoots a bunch of walkers, he says that he has 1 bullet left. And I was right that it was going to play into something later on, that being that he points a gun at Strand when he realizes that Strand is not going to listen to him in any way, shape, or form. But for whatever reason, he chooses not to go through with it and doesn't shoot him, even though he should have. Considering the stance his character has had in this episode, and what he has wanted, aka a legacy, he should have taken out Strand, but Strand's plot armor, I guess, is too thick, so he just bonks him on the head. And the next thing I've written is, I love Howard's reaction, which is when, after they find out that the baby was down in the sewers, Strand is again questioning Howard and John Dory, about who should be his right-hand man. And even after John Dory reveals that he was the one who put the walkie-talkie under the bed of, like, Howard or whatever, Strand still trusts him more, and he asks him to throw Howard off the roof. And I just love how Howard's reaction is, "Oh, come on, you can't be serious." It was just like the way it was done was really good. I love whoever the Howard's actor was. He did a really good job with the character. Much better job than I thought he was going to, and much bigger role than I thought he was going to get. Like, he was a very entertaining character for the time on the show that he was. I really liked him. And they also gave him, like, a backstory in this episode that he has lost his family. I don't remember whether it was before the bombs fell or after the bombs fell, or whether it was before the bombs fell, but after the zombie apocalypse happened, or whether it was before everything. I think it was said that it was before everything, and that Strand played him by not telling him that he actually found out that his family was dead, and he was using him to build up the tower with the thought that potentially he could have his family find this place and survive in this place. The next thing I've written is damn, which could be in relation to a couple of things. The fact that John Dory actually threw Howard off of the roof in a pretty brutal way. I wish we actually see him hit the ground. We didn't get to see that. Or whether it's in relation to the fact that he actually got bit and he died to the walkers. But I guess considering the next thing that I've written is he gonna get bit, it's probably the first thing that I said, that it's in relation to when he threw Howard off of the roof. And yeah, next thing I've written is, next episode seems action-packed, which is in relation to the fact that I obviously saw the teaser to the next episode afterwards, and it does seem like there's gonna be a lot of shit happening, so I'm really, really excited about it. It seems like it's also gonna feature Alicia again, so that's gonna be fun. It means that we're not gonna have to wait a long time to get more of Alicia this time. And the final thing that I've written is, man, we're really losing a lot of the cast this season, because already we've lost Howard, who wasn't really part of the cast, but I guess he was part of the cast for the season. But we're losing John Dory Sr., we're losing Charlie, we could potentially lose Wes, we could potentially lose, I don't know why, but I'm feeling like either Grace or June is also dying this season, but we'll see whether one of them is going to die or not. Because with John Dory Sr. even gone, like, what's the point of June at that point? Where could you take the character? So I feel like she has also kind of played out her role, so I can definitely see her dying as well, especially when Madison comes back. So yeah, I don't know. I could, like I said, also see Sherry dying. Daniel could probably die. I can see Daniel killing Luciana. So there's gonna be, I feel like, a lot of deaths before the end of the season, which is, I get, exciting, but we'll see. We'll see what's gonna happen there. But yeah, overall, a decent episode, but not necessarily as good as it should have been, I feel like. I still liked it, like I said, it's still like an 8.6 out of 10, and mind you, these ratings that I'm rating these episodes with are in relation to Fear the Walking Dead and maybe the Walking Dead universe as a whole, not necessarily in terms of everything ever. Like, I'm just rating these episodes in comparison to other recent Fear Walking Dead episodes, and I enjoyed this episode to the level of 8.6 out of 10. But yeah, what did you guys think about this episode? Comment your thoughts down below and let's have a discussion about it. And also, before we end this video, I just want to give a huge shout out to my currently one patron on Patreon, Deadpool. Thank you for your support, I really appreciate it. It really means a lot to me that you have decided to support me, have continued to support me for such a long time. I hope you continue to enjoy my content and continue to support me going forward. Thank you very much. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, please leave a like and subscribe. Also, check out the links in the description to my Twitter if you want to follow me over there, and to my Wattpad where I post my stories, because in addition to doing all these videos on my channel, I'm also a writer. And if you enjoy my stories or simply enjoy my videos, you can head over to my Patreon or to my Ko-fi account, where you can pledge support and help get the channel going, help support me so I can keep writing stories you enjoy. But if you don't want to do it, that's completely fine. You can still help me out in other ways, like liking this video, subscribing to the channel, and especially sharing this video with somebody who you think might enjoy it. And I think this is pretty much it for this video, so hopefully I'm gonna see you in the next one. Bye!